Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In this video I wanted to give you guys an update of my growth trial of different eucalypt species. It's been a month or so since my last update. Today is September 18th, I think. So just to put things in perspective, also check out my video from about a month ago that has part 1 of the growth trial. Then things were just getting started, and after a month or so they've got a lot bigger, and their growth has actually slowed down quite a lot for like 2-3 weeks already, because their pod are quite small. Well, so I guess in this video I'm just gonna show you each of them individually and talk through it. Okay, so all of them are in this pot that let me just grab one and show you. Yeah, it's a 4-inch pot tube thing, and I fill the soil maybe like to here, halfway or 2/3. And honestly, they're not doing terribly, especially considering how some of them, how crowded they are. And I kind of stopped measuring them every day because it's quite tedious. But also, I kind of stopped being super scientific about it because, initially I was like, I'm gonna rotate these positions once in a while to make sure they all have the same exposure to light, to temperature, and also my window here only opens a little bit cracked, and it's been quite cold, so sometimes whenever I open it, I'm sure this corner get a lot colder than the rest of it. So I don't think the results are super comparable anymore, but at least for me, I get to see a lot of those species in their seedling stage, which we don't really see in the wild. All right, so where do I start? Starting from here, there is my cladocalyx. What's the best way? Okay, maybe this is fine. Yeah, this one hasn't grown a whole lot. It's in a pretty dry corner. I've always been afraid to water it because my last time growing it, a lot of them has dampened off. I don't know why that happened, but this time I'm just keeping everything on the dry side. So hopefully, so far this one's still pretty alive and doing quite well. And there's 2 small ones over there, but it's not growing quite very tall in height. Okay, so the next one we have here is Corymbia citriodora. This one is getting pretty tall, and it has slowed down quite a lot, but yeah. And this setup is really not the best. And this one is Corymbia ficifolia. This is the red flowered. The lighting is really bad. Okay, maybe this is better. Yeah, so their leaves are still a little bit scabbard, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of them in this tiny pot. So given that, I think they're doing quite well. I was expecting this species to be a lot more slow growing, but also something I realized is that maybe the slow fast growing doesn't really apply that much to seedlings, because for example this one is growing pretty much the same speed as the other species. Alright, so going on with Corymbias. This one is Corymbia calophylla, a close relative to the other, well, I guess specifically to ficifolia. They're both in the Rufaria? The red bloodwoods group. So yeah, and I don't know if you can see very well. Let me see. This is quite small, but there's pretty significant swelling at the axis of the cotyledons already, and also the cotyledon is huge. So that's gonna eventually become the lignotuber. If this will ever focus my camera, come on. Let me see. Okay, this leaf just keeps getting in the way. Okay, there it is. So you might be able to see that it has started swelling pretty significantly. So that's exciting. So moving on to the phylogenetic tree, we have Eudesmius. So this one is a gamophylla. This is a mallee species like native to more of the desert area. It didn't grow that fast this time. I have grown it before. It grew a lot quicker. One of the reasons is that I think in this corner, in this windowsill, it's still pretty. It only gets about 2-3 hours at most direct sun every day. It's facing sort of east, and a lot of mornings it's kind of cloudy, and for the past month or so it's been overcast a lot. So I'm actually quite surprised this is still even alive. Yep. So moving on. Oh, yeah, I guess I should have talked about this one first if we're really talking about the phylogenetic tree. Well, anyways, so this is a. So this is. Okay, I'm gonna do this in the future. This is a gomphocephala twart, native to the southeast corner of Western Australia, and it's growing quite well. There is a little seedling like closer to us, like sorry, one hand is holding the camera, one hand is holding a pot. I can't really point it to it, but if you see this linear leaf, I think that's a some contamination from other seeds. Probably one of the seeds just fell into this pot. So yeah, the tall one is the gomphocephala. All right. So those are the more, I guess, early divergent groups, and then more of them. This is a platypus. Also moving on to the glandulosa group. This is platypus. This germination has been pretty sporadic. Some of them, like, it didn't really germinate until a month or so. So now so I oversowed, and then I had fungus gnats infestation, and a lot of those gnats actually, their larvae ate the seedlings. But now I reduced the watering dramatically, and now more seedlings popped up. Now there's 8 of them in this pot. The tallest one has, only 2-3 pairs of leaves. They all look pretty etiolated. I don't know why. I think they've got the same light as all the other species, but yeah, so that's platypus. And this one here is macrandra, another glandulosae group, and the common name is river yate. This one's doing a lot better than I thought. I really like how nicely, everything come together. It looks kind of sturdy. And this one is erythronema, the red flowering mallee. It has gorgeous trunks, and it's a true mallee, and it's going pretty well. And this one, the seeds should be a spathulata, but the leaves are also pretty linear. But I still see pretty, prominent veins. In their adult leaves, the venation will be obscured by oil glands. But yeah, this is a spathulata. All right. And that one is a racemosa, and it's a Eucalyptus subgenus, and it's a scribbly gum. And one of the papers I read mentioned that species in the Eucalyptus subgenus, like the one with only one operculum, really don't grow as fast as seedlings until maybe 7 months in. I think the paper mentioned 7 months. So I'm trying to see if this one will catch up in terms of growth rate. So far it's doing pretty well, so stay tuned. And I know I'm skipping a couple of groups. I had a few more seedlings out on the balcony because it's just getting way too crowded here. But moving on to the Maidonarias. Oh gosh, the light thing is always never good. How do professionals do it? So this one, I'm pretty sure the tree I got this from is a Delrimpliana, or the worst case scenario, a Viminalis, but there are tons of globulus nearby, and I wouldn't be surprised if this turns out to be a hybrid. And of course, only one seed germinated, so I can't really see any segregation, but the leaves are getting more and more globulus-like, but I'm also sure the tree that this came from is not a globulus. So this is kind of interesting. And moving on, that's a volunteer seedling racemosa, and this one's supposed to be a kitsoniana. This one grew kind of funky. Again, they didn't have a lot of seeds and they didn't replant them, but the apex of the shoot kind of just aborted, and it's hanging on with this one leaf, and more has been coming up on the axis. Yeah, and these are bridgesiana, the apple gum, and the leaves are not they're still opposite to each other, which should have happened a bit earlier than this, but you can see the crenulation on the leaf margin, and the leaf is really glaucous as well. And moving on, what is this? Oh, yeah, this is a Viminalis. Again, let me just move this away. So this is a Viminalis. You know, this quarter doesn't have a lot of, or at all, air movements. So when they get really tall, they don't have any external stimulus to make them, sturdy and strong. So they got really flimsy. But this is a Viminalis. Moving on, and those are just globulus. Those are the Eucalyptus globulus. The leaves are really, the margins are more undulating than I usually see, but again, this is not the best corner for it to grow. It might be a little bit too hot for it, or not enough sun, or both. Okay, and moving on, here we have camaldulensis. This is coming up pretty nicely. It's more sturdy than the other few. And also this one doesn't grow as fast as some of the other species, of course. I'm just gonna hold my camera there and move my plant so you don't get nauseated. Okay, this one got really tall. This is my tallest. I grew this to see if this is a rubida because the tree looked like a rubida. There's also tons of camaldulensis growing next to it, next to this one rubida, and I know in nature they do, integrate a little bit, but so far, all the features I see, like, the deltoid shape leaves, it looks pretty rudis to me, but the growth rate is definitely much faster than the rest, so it's probably a hybrid. Maybe the camaldulensis feature will show later, especially, I guess, in the bud shape, but I guess I'll never find out. Alright, and grabbing another one. This one is a punctata, the gray gum. I'm not that excited about it. It's a beautiful tree, and don't get me wrong. Just the seedling isn't that much exciting. Alright, now moving on down the list. So I think those are all my Midenaria and the red gum, or the red gum adjacent. Oh, I still have a couple more outside. Well, anyways, this is a sideroxylon. I wanted to see if those ironbark species grow faster or slower, but this one is doing pretty on par with the other species. And speaking of ironbarks or boxes, this is a leucoxylon. I grew it also partially to see if this is the petiolaris, but because of sessile seedling leaves, I'm pretty sure this is leucoxylon. And this one are a few grandis, and really closely related to grandis. This one is a really tall saligna, and that's all the things I have inside, and let me just also very quickly show you my only acacia that I have here. Yeah, so you can see, let me see which leaf it started. I was watering it yesterday, it was pretty obvious to me. Okay, probably this one. You know, we talk about this phase change, or like the change of the leaves. So you can see on this leaf, the petiole has already started to flatten quite a lot, and the tip are still has those pinnate leaves, and later the leaves just transitioned into the phyllodes. Okay, let me cover the camera so you don't get nauseated. And let me show you some of the species I have on the balcony. Cool. This one, let's move them here first, and I can talk through it. Okay. This one is the cosmophylla, and the fall is here or coming. So, and I know cosmophylla likes it a little bit cooler, relatively, of course, and likes it sunny. You know, they're not the most drought tolerant, so that drier, warmer corner on a windowsill may not be the best, so I took it outside. And also, this is another sign I'm like, I gave up on the trial. This is definitely not a controlled experiment, or you know, the growing conditions are so different. But yeah, it's doing pretty well. I just moved it out maybe a week ago. I like it. And this one, these are Manifera, and Manifera is also native to a relatively cooler region, especially in the winter. So I took it outside, and I have 3 new members. Also, I guess from 3 groups. Okay, here, I don't know if you can see. It just germinated a few days ago, but this is an incrassata. Incrassata is in the Domeria group, and you can see the seedling leaves is reniform, and hopefully we'll see how this one goes. I like this species. Here, again, I don't know if you can see it. This one just germinated like yesterday. It's right here, I think. It's still shedding its seed coat, but this is a socialis. It's in the bisected group. I don't really have a lot of species from the bisected group, and the bisected group is just another group with Y-shaped cotyledons, but they don't really have pith oil glands like glandulose group. So pretty excited to see this one as well. It should have opposite decussate. I don't know really how to pronounce the word leaves, so can't wait to see that. And this one here, let me find it. Okay, so somewhere around here. While I think that's, yeah, if you can see it, right? Yeah, so that's a reniform cotyledon as well. This is a froggattii. It is one of the southern boxes. In their native habitat, they really dominate the landscape, but this is another box. And last but not least, these are my bridgesianas. I don't really know what happened to them. A lot of them just started browning and passed away. This one is just barely hanging on to it. That's another reason why I moved it outside. I thought maybe they're not getting enough sun in that corner, or it might just be too humid for them in the northeast. But since I moved them outside, you can see this one is still going strong. And this should be a pretty robust species. I think it's humidity. It's been really humid for the past month or so. It just started to go down a little bit since starting from last week maybe. So that's probably why, but I wasn't I was kind of surprised it has such a dramatic effect on them, especially on seedlings. So that may not be the reason. It could just be the soil or something in the soil, but everything else seemed to be fine. I don't know. So we'll see how this one turns out. And that's pretty much all the species I have for the update. And just I give you a preview of this plant. I want to maybe talk about those two in the corner. Well, I guess it's not a corner. These two near the fence. Those are I think the common name is telepath plant or dancing plant. It's because the proximal, the basal two leaflets, it's a legume, so it has classic compound leaves. The base two leaflets will move at the rate that's visible to our naked eyes when there is like sound. That's why people say it's dancing to the music. It's quite a cool species. I'm hoping to grow it bigger than this. I grew it a couple times before, but I've been moving a lot, so I never end up keeping one. So hopefully this one can actually flower and seed. We'll see. It's a tropical species. It's an actual tropical species, so we'll see how it does in winter with low humidity, because also I always have spider mites. And the rest of them are just more saligna that are germinated. They've always been outside, so you can see they're much less flimsy and stronger in the wind. And of course, my tomatoes. This one has been it's getting quite windy. Let me close the door first. That one has been about 2 months old. Have some small tomatoes on it already, so hopefully I can get some before the frost. All right, that's all I have. And if you like any of the species, now it is a good size to transplant them, so feel free to comment. And if you are in the contiguous US, I'm more than happy to mail them to you. I just want to give them a home, and I don't have land, and in Connecticut they're not going to survive the winter anyway. So yeah, if you are interested in any of them, please comment and let me know. I'm more than happy to just give them out for free, just to see them actually thrive and not constrain them in a pot. Yeah, I don't know if I'll have more growth update, but we'll see after a month or so if they have got a significantly larger. But that's it for now. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a great weekend.